Oh my goodness. It has been so long since I've been on here that I'm still trying to figure out how to use my camera. Welcome. Oh my gosh, what's happening? It's been so long. It feels like it's been so long since I've actually done a live stream with you guys. Um it looks like Laurel is here and she's happy to be painting again, and I'm super happy to be here too and to be painting with you. Let's see. Let's talk about business here for a minute. So today we're going to be painting a banana, and it probably will take about an hour, I'm thinking. We'll kind of see. It might actually be a faster class because we have less technical stuff, but we will be drawing together. That will be good. If you have questions, please throw them in chat. And no question is a dumb question, so go ahead and throw it in chat. We are going to be using watercolors tonight. And as of tonight, I just updated the stream schedule. It's been a long road, right? I haven't been great about it because I haven't been live streaming, but I am going to be updating that. I've updated it for January at least, and we'll be kind of talking about our stream schedule here moving forward. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to cover with you guys before we get going. So one thing that I am doing that's kind of different is I'm going to be doing a gumption cast, and that's really just going to be me. I'm going to be sketching. Here you can see when that's happening. It's going to be happening on the 1st. Yes, it's going to be a New Year's Day gumption cast, and really what that means is we're going to be talking about some goal setting, kind of what happened in this last year, and kind of what I foresee for this channel moving forward, and just life in general. So if you want to get up with me and have a cup of coffee with me and share your goals, well, please do that. It's going to be happening at 7:30 on New Year's Day. All right, so let's switch our camera around and let's get to painting, hey? So now if you have any issues hearing me, please let me know. We'll switch our lights around here so we have a little bit of light this evening. Okay, hopefully you can see that pretty well. And we can kind of get started. So why a banana? Well, I was going to do a lotus actually, but the banana was just kind of fun. So I thought, why not, right? So, and it's pretty easy to draw. And so get out your pencils and your watercolor paper here so you can kind of see what this is going to look like. We'll draw it together. I might lift this camera up a little so you can kind of see what we're sketching here. So first we're going to kind of start with this curved shape, and it might be useful to just do kind of this half moon sort of shape. You may not be able to see that here. I'm sketching really lightly, but here I'm just going to kind of sketch in our banana in a jacket here. Move some of this stuff out of the way. Crash boom. And kind of halfway here, I've got the split here, so we can kind of carry this over. And hopefully that is enough light. My room is so dark in here that sometimes it's like being in the dark, kind of. Okay, so we're just sketching out this banana. we've got one side that I'm going to extend it out here. I know this is a good exercise for those of you who want to do a little bit of drawing in these classes. So hopefully you can see the screen well enough to sketch your banana. So I'm really excited to kind of get back into the swing of things with you guys. I probably will, I'm thinking that I will be doing a couple of streams a month. And one will be within my Patreon. That's really more of like a Zoom class, and Laurel is a regular there. And then I'm going to have one here on the channel. And a lot of the live streams, I think, are going to be moving to Patreon. So I have a library there that people can check out. That kind of gives me a little bit of a break. I think this last year, you've probably heard me say it so much, but I really felt like I suffered burnout in a big way. And so I think coming into 2022, I'm going to try to not overcommit myself, I guess. So we'll see how that actually works. But you can see I'm just sketching here with some pencil. And then I have got my kneaded eraser here, so I'll kind of lighten up some of this. Now, some folks don't really mind if they have marks from their pencils on their watercolor paper, and that's really just a personal preference. I kind of like to lighten them a little bit so it doesn't interfere with my paint in any way. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking this, actually I can zoom out here now. I'm just taking my eraser here, and I will just kind of run it over my drawing. So it will lighten those marks. And then I have a banana that's ready to paint. So you might still be drawing out there. You can let me know if you aren't and you have a free hand. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some paint. And I'm going to be using an Indian yellow as one of my colors. You really could just use one yellow and call her good. So if that's all you have, that is just fine. So I'm going to mix up some Indian yellow, and yes, you can see that here. Bring this forward a little. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so you've got a little bit of the palette cam here. So this is what Indian yellow looks like. It could be a cad yellow, medium yellow that you have. That's perfect. Whatever you have. And if you have a lemon yellow, I'm going to mix up a little bit of lemon yellow just for giggles here. But you can see the difference between those two colors right there. And really what I will do is I'm going to do I'm going to hit the whole banana with this Hansa yellow and then go back in with this Indian yellow there. And I might actually, you could use maybe, I'm going to use a raw umber, which some folks might have a raw sienna color. This is just kind of a warmer browny tan color. And we'll see. We'll kind of use this for some of the darker areas in here. But at least we've got our colors mixed up now. We can kind of get rolling. If you have a hair dryer, you might want to get it out for this project because we'll be doing this kind of in layers a little bit. So I'm going to zoom in. And I've got myself a nice flat brush here. And hopefully my light is going to be okay here. We'll just have to work with what we've got here. I'm going to dip into my Hansa yellow. I'm just going to do a real light wash. Kind of over the whole thing. I really should be moving the bead here, but it's so light and I can really get a lot of coverage with this flat brush here. So if you're tuning in tonight, let me know you're here. I know that Laurel is here, but I know I've had some past regulars, and I'd love to know if you're tuning in with me tonight. So you can there you can see I've covered the whole banana there, peel and all. So I'm going to mute myself here, and I then am going to dry this. Well, I can't tell you how happy that I am to see that Jan is here. Hi, Jan. Thanks for tuning in. It's awesome. Hopefully, you're able to paint along tonight. All right. I love it. I miss seeing you in person, so it's nice to see you here with me. Okay, so we have our banana here. I'm going to zoom out. And so we have a light wash here on the banana. And here we can start adding kind of more color and, oops, wrong color. We can add more color to the peel here and start shaping this guy. So I'm going to zoom back in. And we're just going to, like you can see here in my example, I need a bigger desk or something. I'm just going to start washing in with this Indian yellow. We're going to do a shadow kind of here because we have these nice edges on bananas. So we'll do a nice line. And I'm just using one of my soft round brushes. And I say soft because it doesn't have a really sharp point. It's kind of more rounded, which I kind of like those. We can do a soft area here under the peel and just soften that edge. And when I say soften an edge, I just mean you can take your brush, dip it in water, and kind of tap it on your towel and just kind of soften into this area. And we may do a few layers of color here, but kind of work a little wet into wet there. So then I'm going to do that under this peel here because this is in shadow. You can always add a little more pigment and tap it in if you need to. If you need to lift any color, you can tap your brush on your paper towel and run it along the edge where you want to lighten it, and that will lift color. And it looks like I need to do a little painting here along this edge. So we'll just bring this color in here and along this edge here. So I'm really excited. I've been hard at work creating a comprehensive watercolor class that is an online class, a little bit different than our classes that we have here. And I'm excited to be able to release that to you soon. So if you're interested, let me know or go check out ihavegumption.com and get signed up for my newsletter. It's where I'm going to release it first here in the next few weeks. I'm also going to kind of dilute this a little bit and bring it down the side here of the banana. We're really just shaping this banana to give it some dimension. We're really going to soften this up a little. So I'm going to soften this edge here. And I'm going to get a little bit of blue. I'm going to mix some green here. So I'm going to zoom out just a hair so you can kind of see my palette. So I'm going to put my yellow in first. Then I'm going to get a little bit of, that is not ultramarine. Let's see. A little ultramarine blue and tap it in there to make a little bit of a green. And I'm just going to kind of lightly place a little green here at the end of our, softening that edge a little bit. Now, if I'm going too fast for you, let me know. We have plenty of time here to do a little bit of painting. And I have some edges here I can see that need to be cleaned up here. So sometimes when I say that, that really is me taking a little bit of a wet brush and running it over the edge there. And I can see I can actually add some color back here. We'll zoom in here so you can see what's kind of happening here with our lighting situation. It's pretty wet still. Of course, we can add some shading in here too, because this is facing away from the banana and we have some shadow going on here. So I'm just still staying with this Indian yellow color, or this medium yellow color, if you will. And I'll just add a little bit here. Still pretty light, but we're starting to get some definition. And I think that I can get a little more orange looking here too. So I might actually find a red. I'm going to take a little bit of my Indian yellow. Put it in a separate spot here. Maybe add a little bit of alizarin crimson. We'll see what we get here. We get kind of a darker orange. We might need a little bit more yellow. So it's just a hair oranger, so we can put this in some of these spots. And I'm going to move from this larger brush down to a smaller brush here. So you have a nice, really nice brush. And seriously, Jan knows because we used to have class together and meet for class. And these pink brushes, you know, are kind of magical little brushes or what have you. But I really love them. They're kind of my favorite painting brushes. And they are Trekell brushes, and they were a special run of brushes. But I like them because they're not super pointy like these silver brushes have a real distinct point. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And sometimes it's nice to have a softer rounded end of a brush because it just is easier to maneuver sometimes. I don't know why, but that's what I find for myself. So you can see here, I am creating an edge with this darker orange tone. There you can kind of see that. And I'm liking this color that is happening here. I'm going to take this color under this side too. You can soften this edge out if you want. And I will run it around the edge here too. Of course, there are lots of ways to approach watercolor, and you could saturate this with water or with one color and then drop in colors as you go along. So if you like to work that way, you certainly can. I kind of like to layer things and kind of glaze because that sort of fits my style. But there are lots of ways to approach watercolor. I'm also going to take this under this edge a little bit too. Kind of soften this edge here because this will be in shadow underneath. Okay. I'm going to lift this light up and see if that helps any. I feel like we're kind of getting blown out here. And I'm kind of going up the center here just to give this a little dimension. I feel like it's a little light, so I'm bringing in some Hansa yellow here. How is this lightwise? Okay. Zoom out a little. So that's working pretty good. We can also bring in a little bit more yellow here up top. I feel like this is super washed out, so we can kind of define this side a little bit more, and I think that's good. And soften that edge. We can even start dipping into this umber color. You could use a yellow ochre probably too, if that's what you have. And you can see I've just put a line down here, but what I'm going to do is just soften this. I might need a little bit bigger brush for this part. So it's looking very yellow, right? So with a smaller brush, like this brush, I think will be good. I can use some of this umber and start going into maybe this side here. We'll see if I run up against some water, which I did. So you can see this is kind of losing its hard edge. So I'm going to take my brush and lift color here. Kind of suck up some of that water. And I will have to do a hard edge there, but it's quite all right. You can even soften this edge here if you want. And maybe put a little umber over here at the end. So some of this sort of needs to dry a little bit. So what I can do in the meantime, there's this dark part at the end of the banana that we can plug in while things are drying. So I can use a little bit of ultramarine blue here. And if you have a burnt sienna, you can mix the two together and you get this kind of dark gray color. The more pigment that you have, the more concentrated it will be. And if you have a black and you prefer black, you can totally use that too. We'll kind of use that for the dark area. And I think I'm going to hit this with the hair dryer. So if you need a moment to kind of catch up and you're painting along, keep plugging along and I will be right back. Okay, so maybe I will hold this up a little bit so you can kind of see what's happening here. It still is in that weird funky zone, but you can sort of tell that we're moving into having a banana here. And you might have seen me actually. One thing that I've kind of found is when I work with watercolor and you don't stretch your watercolor paper, but I'm using paper that comes out of a pack here. So when it's wet, it warps this way. But what I found is sometimes if I hit it with a hairdryer here and then I turn it over and hit it on the other side, it kind of takes that warp out and seems to do a pretty good job of returning your paper to normal. So there's a little tidbit for you. Okay. I'm losing all my brushes here. So this you can see that this banana is floating in space. And one thing that I always talk to you guys about is grounding this, giving it a shadow. So you can see this one has a slight shadow here underneath it. So we'll do that to kind of ground this a little bit and kind of put it all together here. So I have this gray that I mixed up over here, and I'm just adding a little bit of water to it to see if I can kind of create a shadow. So I'm going to run it along the side here, kind of carry it over. And what I can do is I can soften this shadow on the edge here. My banana still looks like it's floating a little bit here, but and we can let this dry, and what I can do then is come directly underneath. We can try to do it here and see if it will work, but you're gonna have a shadow right close to where this banana sits. So right now it kind of looks like it's just floating still. We'll tap some pigment in here. See, it's drying already. Welcome to Idaho here. So that's a little darker than I would want personally, but it's okay. We can lift it a little bit with our brush. Okay. So I'm going to move to a little bit of a smaller brush, I think, to do some lines here. But you can kind of see this is starting to kind of feel a little more grounded. I'm going to take some of my burnt or raw umber here. And I have this really nice script brush. You may not have one, but if you have a smaller brush here, maybe you can see there. You can see. I can just draw this line to really define the shape a little bit, because there would be shadows here where this banana sits in its skin. You could even dip into your gray here if you want. To give it a little bit more shape here. I might even define this one edge here. Another thing that you can do with watercolors, you can kind of draw in with your paintbrush. And so if you're going to create texture, you can do that. If you have taken the brushes class that I did last year, I think, you can kind of see all the marks that you can make with brushes. I've actually included that in my new online course as well. But definitely play around with your brushes and see what kind of marks they can make. So we'll kind of zoom in here. You can kind of see what's happening. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in chat. And if I'm going too fast for you, let me know there too. I'm also going to take this brush with this raw umber, and I'm going to create the lines that you see. Sometimes I think it's easier to kind of use your whole arm here and kind of lift up. And then you can kind of use this more orangey yellow and just create some texture, some subtle texture. and lines that you would see in watercolor. You can also do that here in the skin and the peel. And I may define, because I'm not going to do background here, I might use this just to define this edge a little bit better. I feel like this guy needs a little zipper. And you know, you could, this area down here is kind of curved. So if you need to define an edge, you can do that. Anywhere that you think you need a little bit more shadow or maybe some color variation. Now I feel like, you know, I am missing an edge here. So I may have to go back in and really kind of fluff that up a little bit here with a little bit of color. So I think I'm going to do that. And you can kind of see when you, you know, I just put pigment in there, but when you move the bead, you honestly have a little bit smoother transition here. So this might give me an opportunity to fix this backwash a little bit, although I do like this effect, but I definitely need to get in here and do a little work. So I'm going to zoom out. Oops, not zoom in, zoom out. Because you can see how nice and lovely and pigmented this one is. So I'm gonna shoot for it. And I'm gonna use my orange kind of mixture. I might have to add some opera pink to this because if you know me, you know I really dig opera pink. And it can liven up any color, I feel. So I'm gonna do it. Now this doesn't mean that you have to. You might not have opera pink. We'll see what we're in for. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And that is really orange. But I can kind of dilute it here. I need to make sure that I get this whole banana side in here. And that is super orange. But what I can do too is, you know, we're going to have a little reflection from the table. So I can kind of lift a little color here with my brush. Just to get that reflection. We'll see what that looks like in the end. And maybe add a little here. There we go. There's some. I need to get some better lights in here for sure. Let's kind of accentuate this bump here. just have fun with it. The great part about doing things like bananas and things is you can really enjoy the process. Um, you, I always think it's really great to paint things that you have in your home, especially if you're stuck and you don't know what to paint, but you know you want to do some painting of some sort. Maybe you need it for relaxation. Um, and I am all for it. I had when I first started kind of painting again, I was painting corkscrews and anything that I had in my house just to get going again. And so if you find that you want to do some artwork, but you just don't have any ideas on what to paint, that's always a great thing to do is find something in your house, your medicine cabinet, a cool bowl or something, and to give it a whirl. All right, so how are you guys doing as far as your painting goes? We might wind up having a shorter class tonight, but you can kind of keep noodling away if you want. I might just keep kind of playing here. And if you have any requests for some future classes, I'm all down to hear what your suggestions are. I know that we haven't had as many landscapes in this channel as would be awesome. So we might do some landscapes here moving forward. I'm actually going to be doing some digital classes too, I think this year. So if there are certain things that you want to see that way as well, I would love to hear it. I'm just adding a little bit of green in here. And in any areas that I think might be too light, might just add a little color in there. Yeah, so if you are interested in hanging out for the Gumption cast here on New Year's Day, get your coffee ready and come visit with me at 7:30 a.m. I'm actually going to be illustrating a sticker. So it's going to be a little bit different art. And showing you I'll probably do that as I'm chatting with you, but it might not be as much of a instructional kind of video as it is conversational, but if you're up early, let's hang out. Okay. So there is your banana. Let's see here. All right. Well, I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't see any questions here yet, but we'll give you a minute or so to pop some questions in there if you've got them. Thanks for tuning in. I'm really excited to see all you guys hanging out with me tonight. I really have missed live streaming. And like I said, I've been recovering from surgery and just kind of a little burnout. And I'm just excited to be back here with you and hanging out. So doing what we love to do best, which is painting. So thanks for tuning in. And a big thanks to my Patreon supporters for keeping this channel alive. And if you're interested in checking that out, you can go to patreon.com/gumption. Oh, there we go, right there. I will be moving a lot of the content from this channel to my Patreon, I think. And so just know that that's kind of that will be in the works here. Happy New Year's, Laurel. I hope you guys are doing something fun. And it's kind of nice to have a new year coming, right? It might be more of the same, but it could be a lot different. And hopefully it brings lots of good stuff our way. So, all right. Well, without further ado, I think I'm going to let you all go enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. And I will see you later and keep painting. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.